Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to pick up on our discussion on fats today, and in particular we're going to talk about trans fats, because trans fats could pose an even bigger health risk when you get too much of them than what saturated fats do. So once again, those over here on the left hand side in red are those that are going to harm your health, and those over here on the right hand side in green are going to promote health. So let's take a look here first at one of the most harmful chemicals that you can put into your body. So what in the world are trans fats? Trans fats are created in an industrial process that adds hydrogen to liquid vegetable oils to make them more solid. So basically what this is that they take a perfectly healthy mono or polyunsaturated vegetable oil and they turn it into a man-made form of a saturated fat, which anytime that man interferes with nature's process in anything, there's going to be problems associated with that. And this is a good example of what happens when we take normal, healthy oils and make them into a saturated form of those oils, and it causes health problems. So how do trans fats affect your health? Trans fats will raise your bad LDL cholesterol levels and lower your good HDL cholesterol levels, the exact opposite of what you want for optimal health. So eating trans fats will increase your risk for developing heart disease and stroke. It is also associated with a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So again, trans fats, when you eat them, will make your LDL cholesterol levels go up. They will make your HDL cholesterol levels, the good kind, go down. And this is why they are potentially more harmful than saturated fats, because saturated fats will basically just affect your LDL cholesterol levels and not have too much of an effect on your HDL cholesterol levels, where trans fats make the bad go up and the good go down. It's a double whammy. And then inside of your arterial wall starts a little bit of buildup of that plaque stuff again, which over time will block off the arterial wall and result in a heart attack or stroke. And this is what you do not want to have happen. And for the most part, you can play a big role in helping prevent this from occurring inside of your bodies. So why do companies use trans fats? Well, companies like using trans fats in their food because they're easy to use, they're very inexpensive to produce, and they last a long time on the store shelf. So whenever companies use trans fats in their products, you can typically find the expiration date on those products to be significantly longer than those who don't use trans fats. And, if you're, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who makes these foods, who don't necessarily care for one's health, and that the longer that it stays on the shelves, the more likely it is that it's going to sell and it's going to put money in their pockets. So that's really ultimately what it's all about. Trans fats gives food a much more desirable taste and texture in comparison to other fats, and that's another good reason that we buy those products, is because they taste better and we don't really realize what kind of harm we're really doing to our bodies. So many restaurants and fast food outlets use trans fats to deep fry foods because oils with trans fats can be used over and over again in commercial fryers. Once again, it's going to save them money and ultimately put more money in their pockets if they can reuse these kinds of fats. So why did trans fats become so popular then? Before 1990, we knew very little about the health consequences of consuming too many trans fats. So in 1990, research began identifying many adverse health effects of trans fats, and today we know significantly more about them, and we know that they pose a serious health risk to human beings. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of time before regulators will restrict or even eliminate the use of trans fats in food products. So, it is up to you. It is vital that you protect yourself from regularly ingesting these harmful fats if you don't want to have health consequences later on from consuming them. So, what is my daily limit for trans fats? Well, you should try to eliminate the amount of trans fats you consume each day. And that's much more easier said than done because of how widespread they are and how many restaurants and fast food chains really do use them. So let's take a look here at this chart. And we looked at saturated fat last time, and then here's what you need to know about the trans fats. They are found in baked goods, pastries, biscuits, muffins, cakes, pie crust, donuts, and cookies. They're found in a lot of fried foods like French fries, fried chicken, bread chicken, and fish, snack foods such as popcorn and crackers, and it's in a lot of traditional stick margins and vegetable shortenings. Again, they will make your bad cholesterol go up and make your good cholesterol go down, which will significantly increase your risk for heart disease, and as I showed you before, it can also increase your risk for type 2 diabetes. Your daily limit of trans fats should be hopefully 0 to none. So here's how you're going to find them. How do you know how much trans fats is in a food product? All food labels list the amount of trans fats a food product contains per labeled serving. But there is a huge misconception out there because food companies are allowed to lie to you. All right, they are allowed to tell you a little white label lie. So food companies are allowed to list 0 grams of trans fats on their food product if their product contains less than 500 milligrams or 0.5 grams of trans fats per labeled serving. And that is ridiculous, but they are allowed to do this. So that's why you need to be label conscious and know what to look for. So let's take a cookie, for example. This cookie's nutrition facts panel looks just like this. There's 1 cookie per labeled serving, and there's 150 calories in 1 cookie. And if you would scan down here, you would see there's 5 grams of saturated fat, which is way too much for something like this, unless it's a splurge kind of thing and you've banked your calories and things like that. It's okay to have this every now and then, but there's 5 grams of saturated fat there, and as you can see, there's 0 grams of trans fat. Well, if you would look at this and see 0, you might be thinking, well, doesn't have any trans fats, this must be a healthier cookie. Well, a little white label lie has just been had, because if we take a deeper look at the ingredients list, you will see up near the top, in fact, the second ingredient is partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is AKA trans fats. So what you need to take away from this is you must always, always, always consult the ingredients list to see if the product truly does have trans fats. Because all this means is this product contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fats per serving, which means that they can put a 0 right there. Okay, so you need to be much more conscientious moving forward. So you must always check the ingredients list like I just mentioned to see if a food product really does contain trans fats. And then what you're looking for in the ingredients list. If the product has trans fats, the ingredients list will have one of 2 things. It could have hydrogenated, or it could have partially hydrogenated. And then what you have there in brackets afterwards, and it doesn't matter what oil it is. It doesn't matter if it's soybean, cottonseed, coconut. Whatever oil follows the words hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated is an instant cue to you that the product indeed does contain trans fats and that you should potentially find a better alternative. And you can most likely find a product sitting right beside that product on the grocery store shelf that does not contain trans fats. So that was a very important look at what you need to know and do about these 2 very harmful fats. When you get too much of them in your diet, they're going to wreck your health. So what we're going to do now over the next couple weeks is spend some time talking about the healthy fats. And these fats, most people know very little about, where they come from, how much you need, how do you get them on a regular basis. So we're going to take a really in-depth look at these and learn some pretty cool things that I'm sure you may not have known before in the past that's going to do nothing but benefit your health. So I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.